Recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Steil, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the chair and the ranking member for calling today's hearing. Entrenched multi-generational poverty, an incredibly serious challenge in many parts of our country. It's true of the areas listed in the hearing title, but it's also true in rural and urban communities in Wisconsin, in my home state. As many of you may know, or some may know, I'm the ranking member on the Select Committee on Economic Disparity and Fairness and Growth, what I call the economy. And we've really dug into the impact of persistent poverty that is plaguing far too many American families. Interestingly, in one of the areas we went to was a colonias in Texas on the U.S.-Mexico border. And interestingly, we saw kind of the direct impacts that the failure to secure the U.S.-Mexico border has had on a lot of the local communities in Texas, where they're expending resources at the local and state level for what should be a national solution to that challenge that'd actually be far better off serving many of the people who are suffering from the topic we're discussing today. Let me shift gears slightly to you, Mr. Potterpin. Your company specializes in developing projects using low-income housing tax credits, historic preservation tax credits, new market and opportunity zone programs. Could you offer a few recommendations and improvements to those programs that make it easier for developers to add affordable units of more challenged communities or in more challenged communities?
Absolutely. Thank you. A lot of these, the changes that I would recommend were actually proposed and are still exist in the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act. That act would have expanded the 9% housing tax credit by 50%. Also would have increased rural basis boost, or offered a rural basis boost of up to 30%, offering more credits to those. And that's essential to allowing rural deals to compete federally on bond deals, 4% credit deals, where many of the rural deals with lower rents don't pencil for those types of credits. That the development deals don't make sense with a 30% boost. Many deals now would and would offer preservation. Additionally, one other thing that's being discussed right now that would be very helpful is reducing the bond test from 50% to 25%, essentially doubling the capacity of 4% credits in each state. Many states which are now using all of their allocation. All of these would offer a lot more units and, again, leverage a lot of private dollars to provide them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potterpin. If I can ask you another question, but let me shift gears somewhat significantly. We've talked a lot about government intervention, often in our more urban areas or denser population areas. I know your business also does a lot of work in rural America. Shifting away from just government support, what are the chief problems you encounter when your firm's investing in rural communities, and what can be done to encourage more investment in more rural or less dense populated areas?
Well, I think a lot of what we're facing, especially in the affordable housing world, where we have to work with the communities very closely. Sometimes we need, we're offering lower rent communities, so we need tax abatement or other assistance, or at least cooperation from those communities. And those communities often don't have the staff or the resources that urban communities do to facilitate the development and make them more open.
Let me push you there just a little bit if I can. What areas outside of government intervention might be helpful, in particular in rural areas? Understanding the impact that tax structuring can have.
Sure. Well, in many areas, most communities are often dependent on one big supplier or job supplier. So those areas are dependent on that, and it is hard to underwrite or solicit investment. So if we can find ways to broaden the supply base of jobs and the infrastructure, especially infrastructure where it is hard to, oftentimes we're coming from if we're looking to develop in rural communities, the water infrastructure, the broadband infrastructure, the other infrastructure that's necessary to provide amenities and provide housing for those residents, it does not exist. So other ways to do that would be to improve that infrastructure there, or we can work directly with job suppliers to also build.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potterpin. I appreciate you and all of our witnesses here. Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding today's hearing. I'll yield back.